This is National Native News. I'm Antonia Gonzalez. The Rosebud Sioux tribe in South Dakota is on lockdown through Sunday after 14 positive cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed on the reservation. The tribe setting up a quarantine facility, which is expected to be ready on Friday. President Rodney Bordeaux informed the community about the tribe's plan in a video message this week with Indian Health Service representatives.
This thing is really spreading, and we really need the cooperation of the public out there.
The tribe's asking people to stay home, wear masks in public, and practice social distancing. The Indian Health Service is expanding testing. The tribe's also setting up a number of road checkpoints. The House Subcommittee for Indigenous Peoples of the United States is hosting a roundtable Friday with leaders of Native organizations to talk about tribal COVID-19 funding and unmet tribal needs. Topics include the recently introduced HEROES Act, which would provide funding for tribal governments and tribal organizations, and the implementation of the $8 billion for tribes in the CARES Act. Participants are U.S. lawmakers and directors of the National Congress of American Indians, the Native American Finance Officers Association, and the National Council of Urban Indian Health. The Star Tribune reports the Minnesota Supreme Court ruled Wednesday the state's Natural Resources Department had the authority to rename Lake Calhoun to its Dakota name, Bde Maka Ska. The name of the popular Minneapolis lake was changed in 2018. The group Save Lake Calhoun sued to undo the name change. Members of the Native community are supporters of its Dakota name, saying it acknowledges Indigenous people. North Dakota's June primary will be vote by mail only out of safety concerns created by the COVID-19 pandemic. Native vote advocates and the state's Indian Affairs Commission are working to address concerns over the Native vote. As Mike Moen reports.
Nicole Donaghy is executive director of the group North Dakota Native Vote. She says they're working to help those who live on reservations with any access issues. She says a big concern is the limited number of drop boxes for people to put their ballots in to be mailed out.
For most counties that do have a reservation within their borders, they are only holding or opening one ballot drop box. And so that could be problematic for people.
She says in some cases, someone might have to drive 30 miles to the nearest drop box. And she says depending on the size of the ballot, the postage might be too expensive for tribal members with very little money. The new concerns about access come after the state and certain tribes reached a settlement earlier this year over enforcement of a voter ID law. But the head of the State Indian Affairs Commission says the state is making a lot of progress in helping with access issues. Scott Davis heads that commission. He says they've had constant communication with tribal leaders and the county governments about ensuring voting access for those who live on reservations. Davis says that includes the work they were doing even before the recent settlement on the voter ID law.
We worked very well with tribal leaders and their administrations on areas that need mapping.
Those mapping efforts are designed to help Native Americans show where they live, something that wasn't easy for many to do when trying to become eligible to vote under the law. He says they're also working with the Transportation Department on providing ID machines to each reservation ahead of the June primary. Donaghy says she hopes any access issues don't result in a major drop in turnout after they saw higher participation among Native American voters in the 2018 midterm election.
I'm just concerned that voter turnout will be limited because of the pandemic.
Her group has a section of its website dedicated to helping tribal members obtain key information about voting by mail this spring.
That was Mike Moen, and I'm Antonia Gonzalez.
National Native News is produced by Kawanak Broadcast Corporation with funding by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Support by AARP CommunityConnections.org that connects you to help in your community and enables you to join or organize your own online mutual aid group, share ideas, and help your family, neighbors, and those most affected by COVID-19. Support by the Sonosky Chambers Law Firm, championing tribal sovereignty and defending Native American rights since 1976, with offices in Washington, D.C., New Mexico, California, and Alaska.
Native Voice One, the Native American Radio Network.